Imagine having the power to save multiple lives with one decision. Today, I'm joined by Tammy Ward, the Public Education Coordinator with LifeQuest Organ Recovery Services. Tammy works on the front lines of community education, helping people understand the life-changing impact of organ donation. She's also a Pensacola Chamber Ambassador and familiar face in the local community, always showing up, connecting people, and making a difference. Welcome back to Run of Show, where we go behind the scenes of the event industry, one story at a time. I'm Tanya, your host. Let's jump in. Okay, so first, like I said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out to sit with me today. I know everybody's so busy these days. And I want to ask first, are you a Pensacola native?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Maryland. And
Okay.
I jumped that border, because they're right next to each other. And I worked in Delaware for 12 years.
Okay.
And then I moved down here in 2009. So in
Okay.
June, it'll be 17 years that I've been
17
here.
years.
So when I was living in Maryland, I used to call people that came there come here's. So that's what
Come here's?
Yeah, come here. So I'm a come here. But people tell me I've been here so
Right.
long.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've been here long enough. You can practically call yourself
I know.
a
It's
native.
just, it doesn't seem like it's been that long that
Right.
I've been away because
Well,
my
what-
entire family's back there.
Oh, they're still all there.
Yes.
Like, okay. And you grew up there. Right?
Yes.
What
Yes.
brings you here?
There was a gentleman, and it didn't work out. So
Right.
I did want to move to Florida. I would have probably moved towards the Orlando area had I moved on my own.
Right.
But he was Air Force.
Okay.
So he got stationed at Eglin, and so that's how we actually ended up where we did. And then I got a job in Milton, and when I left, I moved to Milton. And so from there, I just migrated over to Pensacola.
Yeah, that's where it's happened. I mean, Milton's nice. It's quiet. You know, you raised your family there. But I always wonder what brings people to Pensacola. And then you stayed because you love it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
What's the big culture shock between here and where you're from in Missouri?
Not really a big amount of culture shock.
No.
The town is a little bigger than where I went to college,
Okay.
but I lived there after college. So I got involved in the community. I got involved in the community here. A lot of aspects of Milton and Pensacola are like where I grew up. And spent a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I was involved and still in with my sorority.
Okay.
So,
You're
you know,
a sorority girl.
Yes,
Oh my gosh, what's your sorority?
Zeta Tau Alpha.
Zeta, what?
Zeta Tau Alpha.
Tau Alpha.
Yes.
Okay, those are those acronyms. Okay.
Yes.
Those codes. Yeah.
ZTA for short.
ZTA, I can say that.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have taken you for sorority girl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was president of my collegiate chapter.
Really?
I was general advisor and alumni of chapter president at the same time up in Maryland.
Right.
And then when I moved here, I noticed that there wasn't a local chapter that was active. And so I joined, there's a virtual chapter. So the people that don't have a alumni chapter near them can join a virtual.
Okay.
So I did that and I moved here. And what they didn't realize in the virtual chapter was that they paired me with someone that lived in Pensacola.
Oh gosh.
And I was in Crestview at the time. So we started meeting periodically, brought in a third person. And then there was a chapter here called Northwest Florida. It had gone dormant. And so we just decided, hey, let's get some ladies together, see if they want to start it back up again. And we did that in 2011 and we became official in 2012.
All right.
So for a long time, I was president. And now for a long time, I've been vice president of finance.
Okay.
So yeah, we're 30 members strong this year.
Wow, that's really built.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
from 2012, we've had no less than 20 and up to, I think 30 is our biggest.
Right.
And for the alumni, it's nice because you can go to things or you don't have to go to things. Whereas when you're a collegiate, there's more strict things and you need to attend a certain amount and that kind of thing.
Right.
With the alumni, you come when you can and support when you can.
Right.
And otherwise, we have retired people, people that are still working, people that are, starting their career, it runs the gamut.
Right.
Because
how long has your sorority been a sorority?
1898.
Oh my gosh, a long time.
Yes, Farmville, Virginia was where it started.
Okay.
And we have a convention every other year on our even years. This year it's in Palm Springs.
Oh.
I don't think I can go to it, but we also have a state day every year. And so Florida is split up into two sections.
Okay.
And so there's the North and the South, basically A and B. And so the North has it one year, the South has it another year. So people don't have to drive as far.
Right.
Because Florida is such a huge state.
It really is.
I'm kind of surprised they don't have, the two separate ones have their own.
But that would make sense.
But Texas only has one. So if Texas is going to have one, Florida's going to have one.
Right.
Yeah, Texas is so much wider.
Texas should have 4.
Yeah. But, being in the Panhandle, we're so far away from everybody. It just makes it a little... For everybody else, it's easier. So you can go to Jacksonville or Ocala or, West Palm, those kind of things. So, but yeah.
How fun. So you've always been a super busy person.
Yes.
Involved.
When I was in college, it was funny. Some of my sorority sisters said you ought to go part-time college and full-time activities.
Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so funny.
So, but yeah, I've always been involved, always out doing things.
Yeah,
so,
And so now let's talk about the work that you're doing now.
So I'm a public education coordinator for LifeQuest Organ Recovery Services.
Okay.
My main job is to provide education on what the organ donation process is. For students in high school, it's very important that they understand what it actually means, because whenever they go to get their learner's permit and their driver's license, the first time they'll be asked like 20 some questions, but one of them is going to be, do you want to be an organ donor? And if they know what it means to be an organ donor, then they can say yes or no because they've been informed.
Right.
I don't encourage, in the Panhandle, you cannot encourage students to do anything or not do anything because of the strict, conservativeness that's here. And I want the children, the students to be able to get the information. So I will abide by any kind of rules that the schools have so that I can actually get in. Because it's more important that they understand it. And then they, their parents might have an influence over whether they say yes or no. It's not just, the students. Up until the time that they turn 18, even if they say yes, they want to be on the registry, their parents can still say no if something were to happen to them before they turned 18. So it's more important for me to get the education out. And then the other part of that is, even though they get asked that question when they first get their license, that question will be asked every single time you renew your license.
Oh, okay.
So if you move, like even if you move locally, and you have to get a new license to match your address. I had to do it when I moved over a year ago, and I did it online, and you have to check the box. It is part of that thing. So every time that you go to renew your license, up until the time you don't get them anymore, you'll be asked that question to say yes or no to checking the box. So, and for businesses and organizations, it's a way of also them understanding. They might have said yes decades ago. I love when the gentlemen reach in their wallet and, I don't know. I don't know what I did, because they don't remember, and you can go 10 years without having to renew your license. So who remembers what they did 9.5 years ago? But they also learned something during that presentation that they didn't know. It was maybe an automatic thing. Well, yeah, if I don't need them anymore, so yeah, I'll say yes. But they don't understand 3 in 1,000 people is about the average of who will actually be able to be an organ donor, because you have to be on a ventilator when you're pronounced deceased. Oh, wow. Your oxygen, your oxygen has to continually flow through your body, which keeps your organs alive. If you stop breathing, so if someone had an accident and they were pronounced at the scene, they wouldn't be able to be an organ donor. But when you sign up with the tax collector's office with your driver's license, you're signing up to be an organ, tissue, and eye donor. Okay. And so even if you pass away and you're not on a ventilator, you could still possibly be a tissue or a cornea donor.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And see, that's why there's such a need for it, because
right now
there's so many things that are involved.
Right now there's over or more than 108,000 people that are waiting in the United States.
Yeah.
And I usually check these numbers once a week. I didn't do it today yet. But on an average in the state of Florida, there's about 6,800 people that are waiting on an organ. Wow. And about 5,800 of those are waiting on a kidney.
Really?
Yes.
That's the number one thing that people ask.
Yes.
What, I wonder why.
I don't know. There's just so many things that could happen with your kidneys, including we have a volunteer that she needed a liver. And because she had to wait so long for that liver, her kidneys started to fail because your liver helps your kidneys. And because they were working so hard to try to keep up with everything, that she needed a kidney by the time that she was able to get the transplant. So she had a liver and a kidney. She got the liver and the kidney from the same person. Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She was on dialysis for about 5 months before the liver and kidney became available. Wow. Because what happens is when there's a possible donor, all of the information that they have, like their blood type, tissue type, the size of the organ, any other kind of medical issues they have, is uploaded to a database. And it's matched with the possible recipients because all their information is uploaded to that same database. So once the database matches, then our team calls out to the transplant centers and says, we have this organ for you.
Right.
So they knew that she needed a liver and a kidney. And when they had that potential donor, she was able to be matched. So, and when you're having to get two, you need it from the same person because you already know that they work together. Right. But her donor saved 4 people.
Oh, gosh.
So her heart went to a military veteran. Each of her lungs went to another, a separate lady. And then she got her liver and her kidney.
Right. Okay.
So.
Well, it's a sad, but.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
the recipient is asked if they want to meet talk to, have communication with the donor family. The donor family is asked if they want to, have communication with the recipient. If they both say yes, we ask them to wait a period of time. For donor families, it's pretty obvious they've lost someone, so they're going through a grieving process. What a lot of people may not realize is that recipients may have to go through a similar process that I like to call survivor's guilt.
Right.
Because they are alive and doing things because someone else is not.
Right.
And so that way it gives them both an opportunity to heal.
Right.
And then they start out by writing letters to each other. And then, if they want to meet, if they want to talk on the phone. And we have several recipients that are volunteers that have met their donor families.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
We have a heart and kidney recipient who gave his donor mom a tuxedo cat, stuffed cat. When they came out with those where you can record your voice in them, he gave her one and recorded her son's heart beat into the cat. Gave it to her for Mother's Day. So every time she pushes the paw of the cat, she can hear her son's heartbeat.
Oh my gosh, that is so.
Yes.
I'm gonna tear up. Okay, so let's move on because I'm gonna cry. Okay. So you're in education. So you go out to the different schools and educate them.
Yes, I cover 6 counties. I go from Escambia, Santa Rosa, all the way over to Holmes and Washington. And I'm in most of the schools. I still am trying to get into one county, but I have been in contact with the others and have gotten into schools either through their driver's education program, which is, kind of like, I hate to say a no-brainer because, they get asked that question. So that's the easiest, it falls in line with what they're already learning.
Right.
But also there's an organization called HOSA, which is Health Occupation Student Organization, I believe. And that is in a lot of the schools around here, but it's health occupation. So in the high schools. So it's also a good opportunity to, like if they're pre-nursing or, that kind of thing. And so some of the schools around here do have those chapters.
Right.
So through Donate Life Florida, which is a nonprofit organization that all of I work for an organ procurement organization.
Okay.
There's also tissue organizations and eye organizations. So we all are part of Donate Life Florida.
Okay.
It's a nonprofit. That's where the registry sits on the database. And so Donate Life Florida in 2025 was one of the sponsors for the HOSA conference that they have statewide in Orlando.
Okay.
And by being able to be a sponsor, we got the list of advisors for the schools in our area.
Right.
So I reached out to them.
Okay.
So,
Smart.
well, finding different ways, to get into the schools because nowadays you can't just call up the school and actually talk to somebody because it's all automated systems and trying to get someone to return your call. And so, so we're going to be sponsoring that organization again this year.
Okay.
And actually Escambia, this area has a regional conference. So next January, they're going to have me be part of their regional conference as well.
Okay.
So the different ways.
Right.
And then, with businesses and organizations, any kind of business that has like lunch and learns,
Right.
they can reach out to me. And then organizations, I've been going through my Rotary list. I'm a member of Pensacola Five Flags Rotary. So I've been going through that list and going and giving presentations to the different Rotary clubs because we have so many just here in Pensacola.
Well, I tell you, the saying is your network is your net worth.
Yes.
So when you can tap into that. Yeah.
I've always said it's not what I know, it's who I know.
Yeah. I always say it's not who I know, it's who knows me.
That's a different take on it. There you go.
Because I know a lot of people.
Yes.
I meet a lot of people. And before now, my background is in retail. So I know a lot of people, retail and marketing and whatnot. So you meet a lot of people. Now tell me, so you do all these, are events in your wheelhouse? Did you do events and whatnot with your sorority? Are you an event type person?
I'm an event type person. I've had a few jobs since I moved here. I work for what they used to be Bay Area Food Bank. It's now Feeding the Gulf Coast. We had an anniversary of being in the Milton area. I think it was 10 years, maybe. I can't remember right now. But I put together, along with the Santa Rosa Chamber, it was like a business after hours.
Okay.
But we held it at the warehouse in Milton. I got a band to come at no charge. I got Texas Roadhouse to provide us their really nice, yummy rolls. And Fusion to help us out with our alcohol. Right. And then one of the employees at the time smoked meat. So we got, I think it was a pig that was donated and he smoked it overnight. So, we had, it was a pretty good size business after hours. And we had a nice spread and whatnot.
Right. And you helped put all that together?
I did it all.
You did it all.
Yeah, I did it all.
Yeah.
Just with the people, the contacts that I knew and reached out to a few friends. And they were able to help. And that's when I met the former Congressman Miller, his district director. I first met her there, and we're still, friends today. But I got her to get us a proclamation to make it that day, so to commemorate, the anniversary. The people from our the main office over in Theodore, Alabama, came over.
That's a lot of moving parts.
It is. Yeah. And then I moved on to American Cancer Society where they don't do them. I don't even know if they do them anywhere, but they certainly don't do them around here anymore. The Cattle Barons balls.
Okay.
So they were, one night, but the sponsorships were higher than like a Making Strides or a relay. And we had silent auction, we had live auction. Right. So along with a volunteer committee that I coordinated, we did those, but I did it for Pensacola, Destin, and Tallahassee, which was really interesting because Tallahassee was so far away. I had to rely on the committee, the volunteer committee that was over there. And so with Better Business Bureau, I didn't really coordinate a lot of things, but I was educating people on identity theft and scams. And so I would reach out to Council on Aging and other organizations and whatnot to provide the same kind of information like the police department and the sheriff department does now. Sometimes an uniformed person is easier to get the word across than someone that, So we worked hand in hand.
Right.
Before I left there, I was actually trying to get up with the officers to try to tag team some things so that we would have a civilian and an officer and try to, bridge that gap. So I'm not sure if they did that after I left or not, but.
Right. Well, I mean, you get them a good start.
Yes,
some good
exactly.
ideas. Yeah.
Right.
And that's one of the big things too, is working with other people. It's like you can do a lot of things but then everybody has their own quirks and personalities.
Exactly.
So tell me some of your struggles that you might have had, because we all have struggles when we do these events,
Timing is one. When we had the Cattle Barons balls, I had 3 my first year, and then it went down to 2. One was in February, one was in March, and having those 2 close together and far apart. And then the other one was the one here in Pensacola, and that was not until the August time frame.
Okay.
So you had a little bit of time in between there, but those 2, timing and geography, because, one was Tallahassee, one was Destin. And so on the road a lot, and trying to coordinate and, not really struggles, but you really had to rely on, or I had to rely on the volunteers. And I really, had great volunteers to be able to count on them and, trust that they were doing things. And, just for me, it was just trying to get people for right now, it's trying to get those schools, because the state legislature has come down really hard on what they can and cannot educate their students with. And so, just trying to make them realize, again, I'm not encouraging them one way or the other.
Right.
I don't want them to go home and say that to their parents. We're not. I had one county that said, well, we think that the parents should be the one that's educating their kids about donation. And I said, I totally agree. I said, but they're not even thinking about it.
Right.
My personal physician actually admitted to me that he took his daughter to go get her learner's permit, and she had it in her mind she was going to say no to all the questions, because there's about 20 when they ask you at the very beginning. They want to know about your medical history. Are you diabetic? Are you this? Are you that? When he heard her say no to organ donation, he was like, oh, I guess I should have had that discussion with her. So if someone in the medical field doesn't think that they need to talk to their kid, their student or their child, then someone that isn't even associated with that, that wouldn't possibly be in their mind.
Right.
So that breaking through that and, having them trust me that I'm not going to say anything that would, upset anybody. And I even go to the point of showing them the presentation and, going through it to make sure that they understand. Because, we understand that the state legislature wants to also protect their students as well. And so do the districts. I mean, they're not trying to do something to actually harm somebody, but that, trying to follow everything. So trying to fit everything and make sure that nobody thinks that I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing.
Well, I think that's good that you're able to go through it with them first.
Yes.
Because at least they're educated.
Right.
Now. At least that's something that's
right.
For your efforts. But with events, so you have an event coming up, you were saying.
Well, April is Donate Life Month.
April's Donate Life
Month. And so that entire month we're doing things. It is actually a national, Donate Life America puts that out. So this year's theme is Leave a Legacy.
Okay.
And so what we've done in the state of Florida, by the way, I'm chair of the tax collector group for the Donate Life Florida right now. So what we do, we work very closely with our tax collectors.
Okay.
In 2025, the last quarter, 99% of the people that joined the registry did so through getting or renewing their license.
Okay.
So they all, 99% came through the tax collector's office.
Right. 99%. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So we really keep in close contact with them, make sure we answer any of their questions and whatnot. And 3 times a year, we do some kind of campaign with them.
Right. Okay.
April being Donate Life Month, with the theme Leave a Legacy, we have sent them or provided them leaves, paper in the shape of leaves
Right.
And we've suggested that they create a tree either on their wall or on a window. And then we can fundraise that month.
Okay.
And so anybody that donates can put their name on the leaf, and then they can put it on their wall.
All right. Yeah.
And we also do different things. I don't have a Escambia Santa Rosa LifeNet representative goes to their tax collector's offices. I go to Okaloosa, Walton, Holmes, and Washington. Those are the 4 that I have. And so we provide them leaves. We also provided them with a branded for Donate Life Month lip balm for all their employees, so they'd all have something.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of suggestions for the individual organizations that handle the tax collector's offices about other additional treats that they could have.
Okay.
And so, we do that across the entire state.
Right. Okay.
And so September is driver's license month. So we try to do a theme around that where we definitely, lift up the people that work there because, they have to ask that question and they have to field those questions. So if we, can answer anything, or we can actually train their new employees as well so that they understand more about what that process is. I was actually at one of my tax collector's offices waiting to see my representative when someone came in and was sitting down with the lady, and I heard that conversation about it. And so, being able to hear the clerk, talking about it, I understood, what additional information they may need. Because if you think about it, they have to ask all those questions, but they also have how many people waiting in line. So it has to go quickly. So being able to give them bullet points that they can provide if
so they can answer the questions and move it along.
Exactly. So, and then December, we do something holiday themed.
Right.
But for September and December, we try to do something we always have a theme, but then we provide them with a theme on one side of the card that we provide with any treats that we give them. And on the other side of the card, we try to give them either donor family story or a recipient story.
Okay.
Because they don't really see what their, what the fruits of their labors are by asking
kind of more
that
abstract.
question. Exactly.
Until you read the story.
Exactly. So they get to read about the donor families and the recipients that, benefited from someone saying yes when they got their driver's license.
Yeah. I like how you call them treats. The swag, the lip balm, all the things.
Well, sometimes there are treats because this time I know that I'm giving my 4 counties s'mores bars.
Oh, see.
Because leave a legacy with the the trees and the forest kind of theme around it. So we're giving them s'mores, and we're using brown, yellow, and orange as the tissue paper in the bag to make it look like fire. Like a campfire.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Just tell me, what's your favorite part of doing these events? And I'm loving the themes and the treats and all that.
Just being able to talk to people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a people person.
Is there an event that sticks out in your mind as your favorite?
Not really, because I've done so many and so many different organizations.
Tell me about a really good one that you went to and what made it so special.
I can't think of one right offhand. I mean, I enjoy the cattle barons balls because you get everybody out there.
Cattle Bear. Why is it called a Cattle Barons Ball?
It was just something American Cancer Society had, and they used to do it across the country. Okay. I'm not sure of the real background to it, but it was cowboy themed. They wore the Western wear. It was probably a take on galas, so that you didn't have to dress up in the former wear, and so it possibly could have started in Texas.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
And so you have a band and you have live auction and silent auction and just getting the people together for a good cause.
Right.
We always had, and that was the other thing that I enjoy when I can, I bring a volunteer, either recipient or donor family member with me, even to the schools. And that way they share their story.
Right.
So I don't really have a personal story because I don't know of anybody in my family that was able to do that.
Right.
But hearing their stories brings it home to everybody, and including me.
Right.
I learned a lot by just getting this job,
Right.
with the presentation. And so I've just gone deeper and deeper, and like coming up with those Florida, figures. That's not in our regular presentation. I thought of doing that because I wanted to bring it home.
Right.
You can say 108,000 people across the country,
Again,
but in the
abstract.
Panhandle, they only care about Florida.
Right.
And so, the more that you can hone it down, with people keeping it local. I mean, that's what the Panhandle wants. They want to be able to see that things are kept local.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's what a lot of people want,
Yes.
especially people who are in a smaller town. Like we have a big, small town.
Right.
So it is a small town, very close knit. So we want to know, and because, we met through networking and the chamber. And so everybody's very close knit. So we want to know how we can help everyone. And so that brings it home to us, how are we helping our people?
Right.
So I really love that. And you were talking about the Cattle Barons Ball. It reminds me of, I've done a lot of charity events, and it's the same, you've got the raffles and the silent auction, and then your speakers at each one, like with the Pensacola Breast Cancer Association, we have someone come and talk about their journey, their journey. And then we had the Center for Independent Living soiree last summer, and we had some people talk about what they have done for their family and how they've helped them. And I just love, that's what I love about these events, is hearing the lives that they've touched.
Well, and I was able to actually help that. The first time I heard about Center for Independent Living, we actually had someone that was legally blind work with me during the summertime at the food bank.
Okay.
And so just learning what she actually could do and not what you perceive that they could do. And then I was able to go to their graduation that she had. So yeah, it's just getting out in the community and meeting the different people and hearing their stories. And, you can drive by somebody and you just don't know about them. But if you're out in the community doing these different things and the community events, just even tabling, I can't tell you how many times I've tabled at a community event and somebody's come up and said, my father was a donor, or I'm a recipient, or, I got a kidney, X number of years ago, or I'm on the list.
Right.
And we actually we don't work with them directly because we work with the deceased donors, but there are several people out there that need, an organ or like a kidney. And so they're looking at living donors now,
right?
Because of the so many people that are on the waiting list. So you can go to social media any kind of time of day, and people are out there asking for people to be matches, because you would think family would be an obvious match, but so many times they're not, and so there are perfect strangers that end up being matches to people that you wouldn't think about.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but I had a friend in high school. The only thing that I have experienced myself was a friend in high school was involved in an accident, a fatal car collision, and he was a donor, and his parents, his eyes, his lungs, and several, and so it was sad to lose him, but for him to live on through these people and help these people with their, I love that.
And a lot of times that's what you will hear from donor families is that, it's such a tremendous loss, but the fact that their family member could help someone else made it a little less, of a loss, because they knew that they lived on.
Give it a little more meaning.
Correct.
Others,
correct.
Absolutely.
Especially to the ones that are young, because we've had some, situations even locally where there've been an infant or, 15-year-old or, under 30, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So they can live on through someone else when they weren't able to do so themselves. So.
Okay, so again, we're getting sad again. That's the tough part of from what I see, what you do. You want to educate people, you want to get out there, but then there's that other side of it.
Well, and that's what I've been doing for the longest time, even with the food bank, is educating people about, those that you wouldn't possibly think that were food insecure, but they are. Even people with jobs. It's just that they don't have, enough to get by. With the Better Business Bureau, it was, identity theft and scams. I tell people sometimes that I went from saving people's money to saving their lives.
Right. Oh, gosh.
From one job to the next.
Right.
But, just talking, especially to seniors, being able to explain to them what a scam was, or, that they get this phone call, don't answer it.
Right.
And just, being able to help them out. Because I'm not a teacher by trade. Communications and marketing is my background. Right. But educating people in these different aspects, I learn as I go along too. Right. So I'm continually learning. The teachers that do that 5 days a week for how many days? I don't think that I can come in a day and I can do 6 classes. And, one day in Milton, I talked to 471 students.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I had to rest the next day.
Right. I bet. Yes.
But yeah, it just gives them, again, it's just informing them.
Right.
So when they go and they get asked that question, they don't say something like, you mean right now?
Right.
Because they don't know. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. So
people,
yeah, exactly.
So funny. Okay, so let's get happy again. So talking about events, so we have our challenges. You said were like timing, right, and logistics because you're spread out. And so, what are some of the tips and tricks for having a good event?
Try not to do anything at the last minute. Have plenty of time to plan out what you're going to do. If you can have a committee, that's the best because you can only reach a certain number of people. But if you have people that you can pull from, and that committee is not just arbitrary. You can pull people to be on your committee that have certain expertise in different areas or that have, maybe businesses that could help you out or anything like that. And, have them have fun, but they're also doing a good job. But the other thing is, especially with volunteers, I always like to ask them what their passion is. Because a volunteer, I believe, will put more into it if they're passionate about it. Right. I did this when I became president of my Rotary. I went to them 5 or 6 months before the new year started, the ones that were on the current board, and I said, would you like to stay on the board? And of those that said yes, I said, are you doing what you like to do? Or is there something else on the board, another position that you think that you have more passion about and that you'd like to try? And so I filled my entire board with those people and other people. And I think that they did a wonderful job the year that I was president. And one of those reasons I think is because they were in a place where they wanted to do it. Right. It's one thing when you're getting paid to do a job, but when you're volunteering to do a job, you want people in those positions that really want to be there and really want to do it. And then I did my best to, keep up with them and be there for them whenever they needed anything. And, for lack of a better term, pump them up, and make sure that they knew that they were appreciated the entire time.
Yeah.
Logistics, again, if you have to find a venue, if you have to get, anything that you can get donated, is a wonderful thing because sometimes you have a budget, sometimes you don't. And then if you can't find things that were donated, can you get a cost break on things?
Well, that goes back to, again, your network.
Yes.
Because a lot of, especially when it comes to bigger companies, what I've experienced and heard is the bigger companies are giving anyway. It's part of their thing to give. So, but instead of them looking for someone to give to, what charity should I give to this year? You're already in, they know you, they know your quest, they know what you're about, and they want to support you as well as what you're doing. So it's easier to get donations.
And the other thing was, if you want sponsors, kind of target the sponsors at least a year in advance. Because a lot of the businesses have they might be calendar year, they might be fiscal year. But when they look at their funding, everybody's on a different scale. They might do it, even though they might be a calendar year, they may have to do all of their decisions in the fourth quarter of that calendar year for the next year. And so learn about that so that you're going to places, learn about when their deadlines are and what they need. There are some organizations that or businesses that are covering this area, but not in this area. And, they might have a February deadline for anything that's
Right.
you know, in the next year
that
or so.
goes back to, again, your network.
Right.
Not only do they know you, but you know them.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that we've learned in their networking classes is ask a lot of questions. Find out about them before you go try to sell what you've got to offer. Find out if they even need it.
Right.
You know, and then learning about them. Maybe they don't need your project, but your product, but maybe you know someone who does.
Right.
Because you've worked your network and you're like, oh, well, I don't have that, but I know Susan over here, she has it. So let me connect you with her.
And when you go in to talk to them, especially if you're doing a fundraiser type of situation and you want them to be a sponsor, you need to have something written out where different levels and what you can provide them, you know, be it, you know, media or, you know, what kind of return on investment are they going to get for their donation, you know, their sponsorship. Sometimes if it's a one night event or something, you know, it's a table for X number of people or it's tickets for X number of people. It's how many, you know, months on a social media, you know, that kind of thing, but have something in front of them so that they can see.
Right.
And then, you know, tell them, you know, you can discuss it because there's, you know, if you have different levels of sponsorship, but if you come in just asking what they want and you don't have anything to provide to them, you haven't done your homework.
Right. Absolutely.
And so are they going to really think, oh, well, if they can't tell me what I can possibly get, then where is this going to go?
Well, that's the question. Why would I want to do that? Which I've had a similar situation recently because I have a big event coming up March 28th. And I'm thinking, you know, sponsors. And so I started, and I've done a lot of, you know, charity things and I've been on different committees, but the sponsorship committee, I've always kind of struggled with that. I'm like, how? But now it's my event. So I'm like, oh. And so I started thinking about it. I was talking to someone and said, well, besides, you know, the social media shout outs, beside their logo on something, why would they want to come to the event? What is the event about? And for me, especially since I do event marketing and events, this event is going to be event professionals, a way for them to come together and mix and mingle and get tips and tricks from other event professionals, but then also people like yourself who's not necessarily an event planner, but you do events with your organization. So you can come and mix and mingle with other people who might have the same struggles and meet industry experts. So like I said, beyond the logo and the media shout outs,
who's the audience?
Who's in the room? Who's in the room that we can, you know, connect you with? Again, your network. So I love that. So tell me, what is the best way for someone to get a hold of you if they want to get more information about organ donation?
Okay. So my email is Tammy, TAMMY .WARD. Tried to keep it simple. At LifeQuest.UFL.edu.
Okay.
And my phone number is 850-830-9600.
Fantastic.
Yes. And if it's after 4:30, I may not answer your call.
Well, after 3 for me, I'm like, I'm still working, but I'm not taking phone calls. Absolutely.
Leave me a message. I'll call you the next business day.
Yes, I'll call you the next business day.
Or I could be at an event. That's what happened last week. I got an email that was like 4:35 on a Thursday, and I hadn't gotten home from an event, and then I was going immediately to another event on Friday. And it's like, you know, I haven't heard from you on Monday morning before 8 o'clock. I'm like, sorry, but
right. Let me get my coffee.
Give me at least a week.
Right. Well, yeah. Sometime. Yeah. I always worry about that because, well, I understand that person's part because I'm like, I need to find out the answer because I'm planning this. And I got to have this in place before I can move on to the next thing. But it's like at the same time, you don't want to push too much because then that person that may have wanted to help you, maybe they're like burned out now. They're like, you know what? I was going to help you, but you're kind of pushing. If this is how you're going to be, then no. But anyway, that's the side note.
I was at a school where I talked to the principal and I hadn't been able to get anybody to respond back to me. And, the principal was like, well, here's my cell phone number, you know, text me the information. And if you don't hear back, keep bugging me on my cell phone.
Oh, good.
And
he said bug him.
Yes, he did. And so, I texted him and then I think I waited almost a week and I texted him again. And so this morning I realized I hadn't heard from him. So I texted him again. And to me, in like a little less than a month to a principal, bugging was hard for me, you know? So 3 times. And then he actually got right back to me and said, oh my gosh, I told a teacher to call you last week. So I wrote him back and I said, well, I did have a phone call, but I didn't, you know, it was just the number. And I said, they didn't leave a message. I said, so it possibly could have been that person. I said, but if they don't leave a message, I don't normally call them back. Yeah. So I was trying to give that teacher an out if in fact they did try to contact me. Because if I'm at an event, I usually don't answer if I don't know who it is. Oh, yeah. Because if I'm tabling, I'm talking to people and that kind of thing. Or I'm driving because I go here all the way to Holmes in Washington County. And of course, you know, not supposed to text and drive or or whatnot.
The voice. My car will read my messages and then I can speak it back. So I love that. This is the fanciest car I've ever had.
If I go more than 150 miles round trip, I have to take a rental car. And so I'm always getting a rental car, but I never want to put my phone in there because I don't know how to take it out. So
I did. I get into rental cars and I'm like, who are these people? You know, I try to imagine what is their journey.
Oh my!
Where were they going?
I don't even go there. I don't want to pair it. Gosh, no.
Just ask my fella. The other day we were driving to visit a friend of his about an hour away, and I'm just in my head about just the randomest thing. And I started comparing werewolves to Venus flytraps. That's a whole nother story. But he was like, "What?" I'm like, "Wait for it."
That's an intervention. But anyway.
I think, oh gosh. Well, like the Mad Hatter says, I think of at least 10 impossible things before breakfast.
Yeah. You know? Well, I guess one of the craziest things I did when I was younger, we were sitting at an event in my hometown. We were watching fireworks, and my family was a little bit farther down, cousins and whatever. And I was up top. And I just, at one point I said, I wonder what they look like from behind.
Those fireworks?
Yeah. And every one of my family members just turned their head and looked at me like, she's crazy. And I mean, they look like they're falling towards you, right? Because they're over there.
Right.
So I don't know how many years later, I was going to an event on a beach and you have to cross over a big bridge to get to it. And the fireworks were going off. And I got to see them from the other side.
Yes.
And then a few years later, I was public relations for my, what they call Junior Chamber of Commerce, which is totally separate from Chamber of Commerce. And I got to see them from above. Because I was right there as they were setting them off. In fact, the fire chief gave me his hat because the embers were still falling. They were falling and I'm like, my hair. So I got my question answered. I got to see him from underneath and I got to see him from the other side.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it.
But it was interesting because they all turned at the same time and was like, really?
Yeah. Like I said, that's one of the thoughts that I would have. Just random thoughts.
Exactly.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. Okay. So now, Tammy, tell me, what words of wisdom would you like to leave our listeners with?
Oh my gosh. Live your life. I mean, if there's something that you want to do, try to find a way to do it. Yeah. Because we only have this one life to live. And you don't want to have any regrets that you didn't do something that you could have possibly done. Right. I mean, if it's at all possible, I guess is what I should say.
No shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Right. Exactly. And just, be happy. We don't have that much time in this lifetime. Yeah. And, try not to hold grudges. Try not to, somebody else's problem, not your problem, and just, be free.
Right. That's what they say about holding grudges. It hurts you.
Yes.
It doesn't hurt them.
Right. They don't even know about it.
Nope. And you're just over there stewing.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Women have this way of holding things for a very long time.
That's true.
Sometimes we probably should be more like fist fight it out and then be over with.
Right. Yeah, I know, right? Oh gosh, sometimes I wish I could.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I love it. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate you.
Glad to be here. So